Scalping the market on event days. Well, today is an event day, so wouldn't you know it? We're right there, scalping the market for small accounts on an event day. I think you guys are going to like this. Let's take a look. Oh, the boys did the white background. Can't see it. On the CPI report and the Fed announcement days this week, the FOMC meeting, I think it's tomorrow. Does it start today and ends tomorrow? Something like that. The market price is in a higher expected move for the day. So if you look on the right-hand side of the screen here, it's kind of hard to see. But
$29.70, $47.23, $53 if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, and so
just say 30, 47, 53.
Yeah, so what all they're trying to show is that on a day when they had when there's no number, the expected move was like less than 30. On a day when there's a number, the expected move jumped $20, $25 more.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
That's the higher prices on, and the same thing for the next day. And then after that, it will obviously go back down towards
normalizing.
Mm-hmm. So we just pointed that out, that when you have an announcement, a binary event type thing, you're going to see some higher expected moves. That's why you're going to get like cheaper butterfly prices, things like that. Let's go to the next slide. So how can small accounts trade on these days with minimum capital required and avoid the pattern day trading rules? We get a lot of this because remember, Tasty Bites segments are for accounts that are under $25,000. Mm-hmm. So how do you do it? How do you trade these? These, like if you want to scalp something using. There's lots of different tools. Obviously, you can use like micro futures. You can use, you can use some index products if you want to that are maybe expiring 1 day, or 0 day ZTs or 1 DTE. So if you had to hold them, you could either expire to cash or get out the next day. But let's see what the team came up with. So in this case, they're suggesting that the easiest thing to use is the XSP, which is a mini version of the SPX. The XSP is the same cash settle product as the SPX, but it's 1/10 the size, 10%, and therefore only requires 10% of the capital. Now, sometimes the markets can look a little wide there, but they're plenty liquid. Don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Especially in the shorter dated options, they get plenty of volume.
Yeah. Again, they are subject to pattern day trading rules, though, so you don't get around those. Mm-hmm. So just be aware of that. So if you wanted to trade some options that weren't subject, you'd have to do like the micro E-mini options, and I don't even know if those are. I don't know how liquid those are or whatever. But the XSP, you could do those. You could trade those for sure. You could trade SPY. They're the same size as SPY. But you don't have to deal with the exercise or assignment at the end of the day, so you don't have to cover the position.
Yep.
It just expires
to cash. It eliminates one.
Yeah, it eliminates a close.
Yep.
Let's go next slide. The one thing to note about XSP is that the markets for the in-the-money options could be wide. So butterfly traders could choose to sell an ironfly instead, or a butterfly. It won't make any difference. Either way, you'll get a good market on the spread. It'll be the same market you'll get on the spread in the SPX, but it'll be 1/10 the size. Mm-hmm. It'll be exactly the same. Mm-hmm. Okay, but they put an example of an ironfly up there. But the reason, so why would you just
expiration here? You are 0 or 1 day, right? So it's going to expand the most. It uses a limited amount of buying power, defined risk. I mean, there are many, in a smaller account, there are many, good factors to why you would use an ironfly or a butterfly, same exact trade.
Yeah, but the key here is the reason that you're using XSP as opposed to SPY is because you are you don't want to deal with being forced to close the trade at the end of the day and use up one of the pattern day trading, one of your pattern day trading trades. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason. You can let this expire and it doesn't count. Let's go to the next slide. So to scalp equities, you can use MES, MNQ, or M2K. So MES is the S&P, MNQ is the NASDAQ, and M2K is the micro Russell. They're all liquid. The micro equity futures are 10% the size of their mini counterparts. They do not carry any pattern day trading restrictions, nor do their options. And so, as you can see on the right-hand side of the page, the amount of capital required to make those trades is 1/10 the size exactly. And they move. You know, they don't. They're small numbers. You know, but they move on a day.
Everything's relative.
On a day like today. So the just take a look at ES right now. It's up 24 points, right? Well, let's say 25 points in the ES. So 25 points in the ES is $1,250. Right? It's $50 a point times 25.
Yep.
It's $1,250. So if you were trading the micro e-mini just for the hell of it and wanted to trade this morning, the market this morning, you know, and you were long it, you'd make $125. And if you were short it, you lose $125. That's all it is.
As big or bigger than a spread you would probably do in a $25,000 account using, you know, 2-3% of your capital.
Exactly. So that's the whole point. It's 1/10 the size. There's nothing else to it. Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at the next slide. So to scalp interest rates, there's such a thing called the micro yield futures. Now, when we built the small exchange, we had like a really nice product on there, but we couldn't get enough traction there. So when we re-release the small exchange next year, you're going to see all new products from us. But for now, if you wanted to use a micro yield product, they're among the smallest futures contracts on the platform. So they're standardized to trade $1 per tick and require just 7% to 30% of the buying power of bond futures. So it just depends on the specific one. So when you look at this, the buying power reduction, long or short one contract, okay, of the ZT, which is the 2-year, is $1,500 versus the micro, which is using the 2-year yield, which is $462. So it's 1/4 the size. And then these are all a little bit different. So the ZN to the 10-year yield is, you know, 2,400 to 400, and the ZB to the 30-year yield is 4,000 to 300. Now, if you're wondering why that is, it's because since they're yield based, those are all the same size. So like when you trade 2s versus 10s using the yield, you do them 1-to-1, or you do 2 versus 30 using yield. If you're doing the yield curve trade, you do them 1-to-1. If you're doing ZT by ZN, you do it 1-to-2. If you're doing ZT by ZB, you do it 1-to-3 based on the buying power reduction, the capital required. That's your multiplier. But if you're doing the micro yields, it's all 1-to-1.
Gotcha. We've done that numerous times on the show.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot of times on the show, but I even got an email yesterday from somebody. And
bonds are confusing that way.
Yeah, they are.
Right.
They
Debt
are.
instruments are confusing.
So when we talk about the yield curve trade, for example, I am long ZT, short ZN. And I have that on
the first and second lines there.
The first and second line. I have that on 1-to-2. So I have a 2-to-1. I'm long 2 ZTs, short 1 ZN. That's the position I have on. If I was doing the 2YY and the 10Y, okay, I would be, in the yield case, I would be short the 2YY, long the 10Y. Mm-hmm. So it's the opposite. Mm-hmm. But I'm only doing it 1-to-1 in that case. Because if you're long ZT, you're betting on the 2-year yields going down. If you're so you would buy ZT or sell 2YY. If you're doing the 10-year, you would sell the 10-year if you're doing the yield curve trade, but you'd buy the 10-year yield if you're doing the yield contract. Mm-hmm. It's very complicated in that sense. But the trades are 1-to-1, so you use a lot less capital if you're doing the yield trades as opposed to the futures, the traditional futures. It's confusing, I know, but I just had to throw that out there. Let's go to the next slide. So in the takeaway section, small accounts can trade on event days without much restriction by using smaller products that aren't restricted by day trading. So like the reason we say XSP is not restricted by day trading is simply because you can let it expire. You don't have to close it. If you do SPY and you're on the bubble, you're in the range, you have to close it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because you don't want to come in naked, long or short the position. So you have no choice.
Plus, your account might not be able to carry the position. You have to get out immediately anyway.
Right.
Depending on your account.
And on event days like the CPI and the Fed, small accounts could focus on trading mini cash-settled equity indexes, micro equity futures, and yield futures. Those are a really good piece on just, for smaller accounts on telling you what you can trade.
Very good, sir. Let's take a quick 90-second break and come back. We got the opening bell next. Even the S&Ps remain strong, up 25 handles.